Hi everyone, welcome to Korean Express YouTube channel. In this video, we are going to talk about a very important aspect of Korean grammar. That is the concept of time duration in Korean language. Now, before we move ahead, I would suggest you all to go and watch these three videos first, because in these videos we talked about the Korean counters, that is the concept of counters in Korean language, the time related counters in Korean, and the Korean counters for days, weeks, months and years. Why I am saying this? Because only after you know the concept of counters in Korean language, you will be able to frame sentences using the word 동안, which is used to denote time duration in Korean language. Okay, if you want to understand the concept of time duration in Korean, then you must know the concept of counters first. Alright, so if you don't know what are Korean counters and how they are used in sentences, then you should go and watch these videos first. I am also going to share the link of these videos in the description. Okay, alright, now let's move ahead and see what is 동안. So 동안, it is a Korean word which indicates the duration of an event or action. Okay, so अगर आपको Korean sentences में किसी भी action का, किसी भी event का time duration indicate करना है, कितने समय के लिए कोई action occur हुआ था, okay, for how long an action took place or happened, to indicate that you have to use the word 동안, and therefore it translates to for or during in English. Okay, and it specifies the length of time something occurs. Okay, now let's see how to use 동안 in a Korean sentence. What should be the format for using it? So 동안 follows the time noun with a space between the noun and 동안 itself. It means that whenever you are talking about a Korean sentence with a time noun present in that sentence and there is a need to use 동안, then what should be the location of 동안 in that sentence? 동안 should be placed after the time noun and there has to be a space between the noun and 동안. Okay, so this is going to be the format. First comes the number, then the time related counter, and then 동안. Okay, for example, we know how to write 5 minutes in Korean. If you don't know, again I am telling you to watch those videos that I showed to you in the beginning of this video. Okay, there I explained how to write 5 minutes in Korean. So 5 minutes is 5분. If you are using the number, the numeral form, there is no need to keep a space between the number and the counter. But if you are using the word, then there has to be a space between the number and the counter. So 5 minutes in Korean is 5분. 분 is the counter for minutes. Okay. Now if you have to say for 5 minutes, here we are talking about a duration of 5 minutes. Alright, so there is a need to use 동안. So now the format for this is, you first have to write the number, then the counter, and then there has to be a space, and then you are going to put 동안. 5분 동안. Alright, this is the format for using 동안 in a Korean sentence. Fine? Alright, now let's talk about some example sentences to understand more clearly how to use 동안 in Korean sentences. Okay, so now let's start. Look at the first example. It says, I exercised for 30 seconds. So, for 30 seconds. Focus on this phrase. Okay. 30 seconds is 30초. 초 is the counter for seconds and 30 in Sino-Korean number system is 30. Alright. For 30 seconds, we have to use 동안. We know the format. It is going to be 30초 동안. And the remaining sentence you can frame very easily if you know the vocabulary, if you know the concept of framing a Korean sentence properly. It is going to be 저는 30주 동안 운동했어요. Okay, now let's look at the next example. I will study for 45 minutes. Focus on this phrase, for 45 minutes. First of all, 45 minutes in Korean is 45분. 45, 45, and the counter for minutes is 분. And for 45 minutes, for a particular duration, 동안 is used, so it is going to be 45분 동안. And the remaining sentence is 저는 45분 동안 공부할 거예요. Alright? Okay, now let's look at this third example. I slept for 5 hours yesterday. For 5 hours. 5 hours is 5시간. Here, pure Korean number is used because we know that when we are talking about hours, you have to use pure Korean numbers. And 시간 is the counter for hours. Okay? And to denote a duration of 5 hours, we use 동안. So it is going to be 5시간 동안. I slept for 5 hours yesterday. 저는 어제 5시간 동안 잤어요. Okay, now let's move ahead and see these examples. First one is, I didn't have dinner for 2 days. Look at the time span. 2 days. Now, in Korean, 2 days is 이틀. Now, there is one more word for 2 days, but I'm not going to discuss that over here. This is the more commonly used term for 2 days. That is 이틀. If you want to go deep into this concept, you should watch my video on Korean counters for days, months, years and weeks. Okay. Now just see 2 days 이틀. For 2 days 이틀 동안. Okay. Very simple. So the Korean translation for this particular sentence is 저는 이틀 동안 저녁 식사를 안 먹었어요. Alright. Next example is I will be in Japan for 5 days. 5 days in Korean is 5일. O stands for 5 and 일 is the counter for days. For 5 days is 5일 동안. So the sentence is going to be 저는 5일 동안 일본에 있을 거예요. Alright? Next example is I will go to India for 4 weeks. 4 weeks is 4주. Sa stands for 4 and 2 is the counter for weeks. So for a duration of 4 weeks, 4주 동안. So the sentence is going to be 저는 4주 동안 인도에 갈 거예요. Okay, this is how it works. Next, let's look at few more examples. I studied English for 6 months. So 6 months is 6개월. Now, there are 2 counters for month. In this first example, I have used 개월. Now, when you are using 개월, you have to use the Sino-Korean number with it. So, for 6, the number is 6. 6개월. And for 6 months, 6개월 동안. So, the sentence is going to be 저는 6개월 동안 영어를 공부했어요. Fine. Next sentence is I played baseball for 1 month. 1 month, 한 달. 달 is the another counter for month. And while using 달, you have to use the pure Korean number. So pure Korean number for 1 is 하나. But we know that according to some rules, it shortens to 한. So 한 달 동안. For 1 month. 저는 한 달 동안 야구를 했어요. Very easy. Next example is I lived in America for 3 years. 3 years is 3년. 년 counter for years and Sino-Korean number for 3 3. For 3 years 3년 동안. Complete sentence 저는 3년 동안 미국에 살았어요. Okay, now a few more examples. So, first one is I was busy during vacation. Now look over here. As I said in the beginning of this video where we talked about what is 동안, we saw that the English translation for 동안 is for or during. Now in the example sentences that we just saw, we used for. Okay, now look at this sentence, during vacation. So vacation is 방학. During is 동안. So during vacation, 방학 동안. Very simple. So the sentence is going to be 저는 방학 동안 바빴어요. I was busy during vacation. Okay, next example is I watched a movie during lunchtime. So lunch time is 점심시간. During is 동안. So during lunchtime, 점심시간 동안. Very simple. And the sentence is 저는 점심시간 동안 영화를 봤어요. Okay? So these were a few examples to understand how to use 동안 in Korean sentences. Well, this isn't everything. There are other uses of 동안 that we'll cover in future videos after we delve into more advanced grammatical concepts. For now, we are focusing on beginner level grammar, so let's not dive too deep just yet. Okay? Alright, thank you so much for watching this video. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe Korean Express YouTube channel. Thank you.